This is Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in The Crew. The Crew, I believe, is the game that won the Kennerspiel des Jahres this year, the award that our game, Wingspan, won last year. And The Crew really, I wouldn't say it caught me by surprise. I knew I was going to enjoy this game. But Megan and I played it this last weekend, thinking we might play a few games, and we ended up playing, I think, 16 total missions, probably 20 or 22 total games of this, because it plays really, really quickly, and we were really having a lot of fun with it. So I wanted to talk about it today. We were playing it, the two-player variant, and I'll talk about that in a second. But at its heart, this is a trick-taking game, but fully cooperative trick-taking game. And that in itself is probably one of my favorite aspects about the game, because I generally do not gravitate towards trick-taking games. They don't get me excited to play, although I did have plenty of fun playing hearts and spades in college. But now with modern board games, I don't get all that excited about it. But making it cooperative added a huge, interesting twist to the game, in that you were trying to win tricks strategically based on task cards that you acquire. So at the beginning of each round, oftentimes for each round, you are acquiring, players are taking turns acquiring task cards. So say I acquire this card and Megan acquires this card. What that means is that during the round, I need to win a trick that has the 7, the green 7, and Megan needs to win a trick to have the green 4. And when that happens, you stop the round. You don't have to keep playing cards. You finish your tasks and you're done. And I love that about the game in particular, the way these task cards are used. That you are cooperating to make sure that I get the 7, and cooperating to make sure Megan gets the 4. And once we reach that goal, we stop. We don't have to keep playing out the hand all the way. We can move on to the next mission. That ties into the next thing that I really, really like. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll show you the first page of the missions. There are 50 different missions in this book, and they start out incredibly simply. Like in the first mission, you simply put one task card on the table, one player claims it, and you just have to make sure that player acquires this card. So it's incredibly easy, and it quickly ramps up from there to where the second mission, for example, is you have to acquire. There are 2 different task cards that you put on the table that you have to acquire at the beginning of the game, and then win tricks with them. And it escalates and it escalates. I love that it onboarded us into the game and the idea of cooperative trick taking in a really, really pleasant way and a really quick way, because again, we are ending each mission as soon as we accomplish our task for that mission. So the game never outstayed its welcome or overstayed its welcome. That's why we were almost always wanting to play one more, whether we won or lost. And we usually won, but there were some that we got hung up on a few times. The board game, or the designer admits that there's a little bit of luck, because there's a ton of different combinations that can come out in this game. But I love the onboarding and the escalation from mission to mission. That's probably my favorite aspect of the game. The other thing I wanted to mention, though, about the 2-player version, because I'd heard some bad things about the 2-player version, and I am very interested in playing with 3 to 5 players, absolutely. But I thought the 2-player variant was really, really clever. It uses a system called Jarvis. Basically, at the beginning of the game, you're going to lay out 7 random cards face down, and on top of them, you're going to put 7 random cards face up. And so, unlike in a fully human version of The Crew, you actually have some information about what's in the other player's hand. Jarvis is essentially a player. So you have some information there, giving you a slight advantage. However, the game takes away that advantage because the cards that you win might need to win these tasks, whether it's you or Jarvis trying to win the task or gain the task, win a trick that has the task. Those cards might be buried face down, and you don't know where they are. And so you need to uncover them by playing through, by getting some of Jarvis's cards off the top of the top cards off, so you can access the bottom cards and see what's there. It reminded me a little bit, actually, of Forbidden Desert. I hadn't made that connection until right now, but in Forbidden Desert, you are digging up tiles, some of which are going to be relevant to your mission of winning the game, and some of them might just give you something nice, but it's not actually moving you forward in the game. So I really liked this mechanism. I thought this was really clever. I liked having some information from Jarvis, but the puzzle of figuring out how to get some cards off so we could access the cards underneath was really, really interesting. And I thought it was actually a very satisfying 2-player puzzly experience, especially with the limited communication between the 2 human players at the table. There's a lot to love about The Crew. I think it's a must-play, I think, for designers who are figuring out better ways to get players into the game, to get them playing with the most simple version of the game and then escalate it from there. It has already had an impact on the cooperative game that I'm designing, and I just think it's really, really clever the way they did this. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the crew. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below about your favorite mechanism in the game, or if any of this reminds you of perhaps another trick-taking game or another game that onboards players into the experience in a really easy way for the players. I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. Thanks.